Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Happy Monday. I hope you enjoyed the OK Go video. It was kind of fun. It was our last video that I know of, but it was still cool. All right, hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to give you a quick rundown of what's going to happen here very quickly, okay? So first of all, today there is no homework. It is just watching the video. So this is going to be a longer video, and I want you to hang in there because it really does summarize everything we're doing here, okay? After today, then, Tuesday and Wednesday, tomorrow and Wednesday, you will have a review sheet that you are going to fill out. And I'm not making a video tomorrow. So tomorrow and Wednesday is going to be a worksheet that you're going to work on. It's kind of long, so you're going to work on that for those 2 days, and then we're going to have a quiz at the end of the week here. So that'll be Thursday. And then Friday we'll have a summary kind of conclusion video. So a lot of stuff going on here. Hopefully you are following along, and hopefully it's making sense. If you struggled on the quiz last Friday, I need you to try to figure out what's going on. Contact me or whatever, and we can try to work on it or learn through some other ways. We're also going to review right now, so hopefully that helps you out as well. Now, like I said, this video is kind of long. You will need a calculator. You will need a pencil, but the good news is that you do not have homework after just this video, so you just have to watch the video today, okay? All right, let's get started here, okay? I need my pen here, and let's go with red. We're going to review a lot of the concepts of the entire chapter that we've gone over. Now, one of them is angle relationships. Now, you look at this situation right here, and you should already know a couple things. Now, first of all, what do we call these two angles? Well, they are adjacent, but the key thing is that they are supplementary, and supplementary means they add up to 180. So therefore, I should know that x plus 37 equals 180. Now, I know you're like, but why do I have to do it that way? Can I just do it in my head? That's cool to do it in your head, and yet I need you to be able to show how to solve this problem without or showing your work. And when you show that, that's really important. So x equals 143 degrees. Showing the algebra is really important because this one right here is really simple. We're going to get to some more challenging ones later on, okay? So you need to know these concepts. This one plus this one, this one plus this one have to equal 180. So that's what I showed, and then I solved it algebraically. Okay. Next one. Now, this next problem right here, there are a couple ways you could do it. Now, first of all, this should also help you remember that all the angles inside a triangle add up to 180. Okay, 180. However, this right here, we don't know it yet. You could say, hey, this angle right here and this angle right here are supplementary. And if this one's 150, then 150 or 130, I'm sorry. If that one's 130, that means this one over here must be 50 degrees. So you could do it that way. And so you could say, oh, okay, so then all these three have to add up to 180. So 2x plus 3x plus 50 equals 180. And then I solve it that way, okay? So you could do it that way. All right, that is okay. The other thing you could say, though, is this is, do you guys remember the name for that? That is an exterior angle. And what's true about the exterior angles that we learned in class? Okay, exterior angles, the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two opposite inside angles, okay? So those two angles right there, the sum of those two angles is going to be equal to the external angle. So 2x plus opposite interior. Man, I blanked on that. 2x plus 3x equals 130, which, by the way, was the same thing as if you would have subtracted 50 from here from both sides. See that? See how I showed that? I like that. So then 5x equals 130. Divide by 5, and x equals 130 divided by 5 would be 26 degrees. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we're looking for x, that would be correct. However, if they're looking for these angles, you got to be careful. If you're looking for the angles, that means you actually have to multiply 2 times 26 and get 52. This one's 52 degrees. And then 3 times 26 and get what? 78 degrees. And then 78 plus 52 plus 50 would be 180. So two ways you could handle that one. You need to know how to use both because sometimes one will be easier than the other. Okay? And by the way, we're just going to throw a bunch of series of problems here. If you, my strong advice is to write these down. On the quiz, you will most likely be allowed to use your notes if you have notes well written down. Okay, and so copy these problems down. Try them on your own. Okay, so if you need to, go back, pause it. If you need to write this one down, pause it, write it down, and then move on. This next problem, what I want you to do is I want you to draw this out. Just a sketch. Come on, you guys know how to do this. So sketch this out. Draw two parallel lines, and then cut them with a, what's the name of that called? The one that goes across? It's called a transversal. So two parallel lines cut by transversal create these 8 angles. Draw them out, and then write these numbers out. And 1 and 5, 2 and 3, 5 and 6, and 3 and 5. And what I want you to do is I want you to match them. So again, best advice right now is to pause the video and say, angle 1 and 5 are what? Angle 2 and 3 are what? Angle 5. And then when you're done, unpause it, and we'll go over it right now. Did you pause it? Did you do it? Guys, please, come on. Pause it and do it. It's good practice. Okay? All right. Here we go. Number 1 and angle 5. Angle 1 and angle 5. Those two, which one of those are they? They are corresponding. Corresponding because they are like the matching angles. Corresponding. They correspond. 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 4 and 8, and 3 and 7 are all corresponding angles. Okay, how about 2 and 3? 2 and 3. These two angles right here are called what? They are vertical angles. Vertical. And remember, corresponding angles are congruent, aren't they? Vertical angles, like 2 and 3 and 6 and 7 and 1 and 4 and 5 and 8 are also congruent. How about angle 5 and 6? 5 and 6 right here. How would you describe those? Those, we've already talked about those today. Those are supplementary. Supplementary because they add up to what? They add up to 180 degrees. And last but not least, how about angle 3 and, I don't want a big screen of me. I don't need to see myself all big. Let me see if I can minimize it. My bad. Okay. Whoop. All right. Verse 3 and 5. 3 and 5. Wow. I need to see myself like that. 3 and 5. Now, these we did not go over much. 3 and 5 are same side interior. See how they're on the same side? They're both on the middle, so they're same side interior. If I went like 5 and 4, 5 and 4 are alternate interior. Alternate interior. Okay? So please remember all those angles. Hopefully that makes sense to you and you got it. I'm going to try to minimize this again because that's really obnoxious. Okay, whatever. I minimized it. All right, next one. That way you get the full screen and you don't have to see me. Okay, last one of this section here, angle relationships, solve for x, okay? So looking at those two shapes right there, what do you know automatically are those two angles? Those two angles are, what did we just call them? Those two are corresponding. So if they are corresponding, that means they are congruent. So 8, ooh, wow, fun. 8x plus 49 is equal to 145. Now, if you would, please go ahead and solve that. And when you're done, unpause it and we'll compare it. Okay? Here we go. I subtract 49 from both sides. 8x equals, and that would be 96? 96. Then at that point, I divide by 8 on both sides, and I get the x equals 12. X equals 12. So x equals 12. Now, if I was asking for, now in this case, look at this, they're saying solve for x, so that's where I leave it. If I actually wanted to find the angle, I would have to do 8 times 12 plus 49, which actually we know is 145. Cool. All right, guys, that's a quick summary of angles. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that's the last one. Yep. Next one, after angles, and there are a lot of angles. You got to remember those, guys. After angles, we went to square roots and real numbers. So let's practice this out. Here is a square, and the side is 15. What is the area? Well, did you have this one memorized? To get the area of a square, if the sides are 15, I do 15 squared, and 15 squared squared is equal to 225 feet squared. If you don't have it memorized, that's fine, but you do need to know. So 15, 10, 15 is 225 feet squared. How about this one? What if the area is 25 feet squared? What is the length of one side? Now, in this case, what do I have to do? I have to do the square root of 25, because what number times itself gives me 25? 5. So the side length, and please make sure your label is 5 feet, because 5 feet times 5 feet is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. All right, next problem. And here they are. Please write these 3 square roots and find their answer. When you're done, unpause it, and we'll compare it. All right, here we go. Square root of 100. Well, that one's pretty straightforward. Square root of 100 is 10. Now, second one, and this is what caused a lot of problems on the quiz we just did. Okay, second one is square root of 14. Now, the square root of 14, I don't have my, sorry, I'm trying to see if I can find my video here. Yeah, I was trying to build a deck. Not much luck, okay? Hopefully going to do that later. I can't bring my camera up anymore, so, oh well, we'll go from here. Square root of 14 is 3.74165, blah, blah, blah. That one is going to keep going. So what you need to do is you need to be aware of how I want you to round. Usually I'll tell you what to round to. In this case, I want you to round to the nearest hundredth. So if I've got 3.74165, dot, 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 what would I do? It should be 3 and 74 hundredths. Not 3 and 7 tenths, not 3. You must round correctly, okay? And last but not least, the square root of 11 and 56 hundredths. It's nice and easy. 3 and 4 tenths. Cool. Did you get those 3 correct? Let's keep moving with square root. Now, or rational and irrational. I want you to tell me which one of those numbers are rational, which ones are irrational. And again, my advice would be to write this down. Guys, this whole review, this whole thing right here is going to cover the majority. I'm not saying it's covering everything, but it's covering the majority of the topics we covered in this chapter. And this is going to be a great review for you for the practice problems we're doing, and then for the quiz that we're going to do at the end here, okay? So, 3/4, rational or irrational? Well, I guess it matters. The first thing we got to go is, what is rational numbers, or what are rational numbers? Write this down if you don't have it. Rational numbers terminate or repeat. Write it down. Rational numbers terminate or repeat. So 3/4 is 75 hundredths. Does that one terminate or repeat? It does. It terminates. So therefore, it is rational. Okay. How about -5? It terminates too, so it is rational. By the way, the other definition of rational numbers are numbers that can be written as a fraction. Since this one is a fraction or a ratio, it is a rational number. 3 and 45 hundredths? Rational, because it ends. How about 3 and 2 tenths, written with the bar notation? That one repeats, so it is rational. How about the square root of 7? Ooh, let's go to the calculator and handy dandy calculator and check it out. Square root of 7 is 2.645751311 dot 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 dot. It keeps going and it does not repeat. So it is irrational. And 2 1/3, well, 2 1/3, if you change it to decimal, you get 2 3 tenths with the bar notation. So that is rational because it repeats. Yes, I know most of these are rational. Oh well. All right. Hopefully you're doing well. Again, if you got questions, pause it. We're going to the final section here. Right triangles. And the first question you need to be able to answer here is, do these sides actually make a triangle? Okay, this is when I did the activity. Yes, I know it was the one that was having a hard time with the volume, but hopefully you're able to figure it out. So if I have a triangle of 3, 5, and 12, can I make a triangle? And will it make a right triangle? Okay, first of all, 3, 5, and 12. Guys, if one side is 12, one side is 3, one side is 5, will that even make a triangle? No, that won't even make a triangle. And the trick is here. Write this down. The sum of the two smaller sides has to be greater than the third side for it to even make a triangle. If these two numbers don't add up to this number or bigger than that number, they will never make a triangle. Okay, so please be careful with that. How about letter B? 8, 15, and 17. Well, first of all, 8 plus 15 is 23. That's bigger than 17, so therefore it is a triangle. And how do I know if it makes a right triangle? Well, if you remember, right, guys, if you remember, this side is 8, this is 15, and this is 17. I make squares. These are beautiful squares. Woo! And I find the area of those squares. 8 squared is 64. 15 squared, oh, we just said it. Do you remember? 15 squared is 225. And 17 squared, oof, I don't remember that one. I'll have to check here. Sorry about that, guys. You should too. That one is 289. Now, if this is a right triangle, the area of one square plus the area of the smaller square should add up to get me the bigger number. Is 64 plus 225 equal to 289? Yes, it is. So this is a right triangle. Okay? So if the sum of the two smaller squares adds up to the bigger square, then it is a right triangle. Ooh, question for you. What if the sum of these two numbers is greater than the bigger one? Do you remember those sentences? Ooh, if you don't, you will need to review that. You will need to go back and know what is true, what makes an acute and what makes an obtuse triangle. Acute and obtuse, and we did those review sentences, so please try to check it. If not, you can always Google it. I'm not telling. I need you to figure it out, okay? All right, so to determine a missing side on right triangles. Now, these are right triangles. They say they're right triangles. Here, we can assume, therefore, this is a right angle there. What we learned was the Pythagorean theorem. And the Pythagorean theorem states that a squared, wow, sorry guys, my pen is not working very well. I'm going to try with a different side here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs and c is the hypotenuse. Now, if you're still struggling with this is really important that you pay attention. The legs are always the two smallest sides. The hypotenuse is always the biggest side, and it is always opposite the right angle. Okay? So, write that down. Have it. Learn it. Memorize it. You need to know it. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs and c is a hypotenuse. Okay? I'm going to pause it if you need to because I'm about to erase it, and we're going to try again. Got it? All right, pause, erase that, and let's do this. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, a and b, like I said, are the legs. Now, it doesn't matter if this one's a and this one's b, or if they're switched around. It really doesn't matter. So let's just go ahead and put 21 squared plus 20 squared equals c squared. Now, again, if you feel confident, go ahead and pause the video and finish this off on your own. If not, just follow along with me. But it really would be good practice for you to do it, okay? 21 squared. 21 squared is 441. 20 squared is 400 equals c squared. I add these up, I get 841 equals c squared. Now what do? I want to get the c alone, and right now it's c squared. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to undo the square by doing its inverse, which is the square root. Square root cancels out the squared. And then I find the square root of 841, and I get my answer, which is 29 equals C. So this side here is 29 centimeters. Cool? All right, guys. One more problem. Last problem. I want you to try this on your own, please. So please pause the video. Do this problem. When you are done, please unpause it, and we'll compare our answers. All right, so you pause the video. Here we are. This is a right triangle again. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, a is 14 squared plus b. B is not 25. Why? Because a and b are the legs. The legs have to, they gave you a there. Okay, so I messed the two up, so my bad. All right, so I'm going to say that one's b, And so we got b squared equals, and then this is the hypotenuse. That goes over here, so 25 squared. Okay? And now I finish solving. 14 squared is 196. Now I've got my calculator right next to me. That's why I'm checking these and getting these. Oh, and 25 squared again. Man, they really want you to learn it. So 25 squared, 225. Then I finish solving. Subtract 196. And then I get b squared equals 225 minus 196 is 29. Then, again, I want to get the b alone, so I find the square root of both sides. Okay, now b squared, square root of b squared cancels out, and b equals the square root of 29. And the square root of 29 is an irrational number, which means it keeps going on forever. And I want you to round to the nearest hundredth. So the answer would be 5 and 39, because that was an 8. The number after it was a 5, which rounds that up. Feet. Okay, there is the answer, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. So that was a summary of this chapter. I tried to cover as much as I can. It doesn't mean I covered everything. You will need to review this. You will need to practice. You will need to analyze and ask questions. I will most likely do a Google Meet at one time before we're done here. I'll probably have both of my 2 classes together. That way I can have a few more people. If you have questions, if you just want to say hi, whatever, look for the announcement. I will be announcing that very soon. Okay, so please be on the lookout for that. You have no homework today. You struggled or you pushed through this video, which I applaud you for. Now relax. Tomorrow you will have a worksheet that will take you tomorrow and Wednesday. Thursday you will have a quiz, and then Friday we will have a video in which we kind of close up the rest of the year. Also, if you do have a math book, I do need you to try to get me those math books back. So you are going to return them to the school. The school does have a list of those of you who have a book, and so you need to make sure to return them. Otherwise, you will have a problem with the high school and registering and getting all that stuff taken care of. So please make sure you return your books for not only my class, but for all the classes when you go pick up your stuff. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Hope you have a great rest of the day.